Hello everyone, welcome to Homeschool, and we are with the chapter Diversity in Living Organisms, where in our previous videos we have discussed about the classification and the five kingdom classification we have learnt, and the hierarchy of classification and the flow chart on what basis these five kingdoms are classified. All of them we discussed. And today, let us discuss about the characteristics of these five kingdoms. First and foremost, let us try to talk about the characteristics of Kingdom Monera. So, as I already told in the previous class, in the flowchart you can observe, all organisms under Kingdom Monera are prokaryotic. Yes or no? Prokaryotic. That means they do not have well-defined nucleus. Do not have well-defined nucleus. Yes or no? Say nucleus doesn't have nuclear membrane. Not only nucleus, other cell organelles like mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum do not have a membrane, outermost membrane. Okay, very old type of a cell is called prokaryotic cell. Okay, so all these organisms under Kingdom Monera are prokaryotic in nature. Clear? And the second point that you have to remember is all organisms are unicellular. The organism is made up of a single cell. So very simple organisms come under Kingdom Monera, isn't it? And the organisms are either autotrophic or heterotrophic. So what do you mean by autotrophic and heterotrophic? Autotrophic in the sense can synthesize their own food. Okay, so these organisms can synthesize their own food. Such organisms are called autotrophic. Okay, I'm talking about nutrition. Nutrition in the sense all about food, how they take food. If they can synthesize their own food, then I can call them as autotrophic. If they cannot synthesize their own food, then I can call them as heterotrophic. Okay, heterotrophic means they cannot synthesize food. Clear? So the Monera Kingdom Monera organisms, some of them can synthesize their own food and some of them cannot synthesize their own food. Okay, we have organisms of both type here. Clear? And now the examples of Kingdom Monera. So what examples I can give here is bacteria. Okay, bacteria and blue-green algae. So these are few examples of Kingdom Monera. You can observe the pictures of bacteria, okay, and the blue-green algae also. So very simple organisms come under Kingdom Monera actually. And one note you take down, one extra point I'm giving you. So Kingdom Monera is actually again divided into two types, guys. One is Archaebacteria, and another one is Eubacteria. Clear? Kingdom Monera is again divided into Archaebacteria, Eubacteria. So this is one extra point you can try to remember for any competitive examinations. Yeah, so this is all about the Kingdom Monera. And now let us talk about another kingdom called Kingdom Protista. So I am discussing here the characteristics of Protista. What points you can mention under the characteristics of Protista? It is all these protista organisms, the organisms which come under protista are eukaryotes. Eukaryotes, yes or no? All of them have eukaryotic cells. That means well-defined nucleus they have. Okay, the nucleus has a nuclear membrane. Other cell organelles also has nuclear membrane. Clear? And next thing is they are unicellular. These guys are unicellular. Just like monerans, protistans are also unicellular, guys. And the next and very important point is even they can be autotropic or heterotropic. Okay, some protistans can prepare their own food and some protistans cannot prepare their own food. That's the reason I told they can be autotropic or heterotropic. And the next thing is some have hair-like structures on their body called cilia. For example, paramecium. You can observe the picture of paramecium there. You know how the paramecium looks like? Something like this. Okay, and it has cell organelles, it has a nucleus and it can have mitochondria and everything. And its body surface has hair-like structures around it, guys. And these hair-like structures we call it as cilia. Clear? And also some have flagella. Example, euglena. So how does the structure of euglena looks like? So like this, something like this. Flagella is this particular structure. Okay, so a whip-like structure we call it as flagella. So where this cilia and flagella are helpful for the organisms? To collect the food. Okay, say they move very slowly, guys. And when the moment they see the food, you know, with the help of this hair-like structures or flagella, they grab the food. They bring the food towards them and they eat it. You know, say this is the main feature of protistans. Some have hair-like structure called cilia, some have hair-like structures called flagella. Okay, so paramecium, euglena, you know, amoeba, all these come under a kingdom called protista. You can see the picture of some protistans, amoeba, paramecium, euglena, okay, diatoms, all these organisms will come under protista. And now let us see about the organisms that come under fungi, characteristics of fungi. Coming to the characteristics of fungi, you know, if you can remember the flow chart, all organisms that come under fungi are eukaryotic. Yes or no? They have eukaryotic cells. That means well-defined nucleus you will find, nuclear membrane you will find around nucleus. All cell organelles also have membranes, isn't it? So very advanced type of cells, you call it as eukaryotic. So all fungi have eukaryotic cells and they are multicellular. Fungi have too many cells, group of cells you will find, okay, multicellular. And you know, they have cell wall, very important feature. The organisms that come under fungi have, you know, cell wall, and this particular cell wall is made up of a complex sugar called chitin. Okay, remember the word, guys, chitin. Chitin is a chemical, complex sugar in the sense it's a type of chemical, guys. Okay, looks like glucose. The chemical structure looks like glucose and etc. Right? Say a chemical called chitin. Cell wall is made up of a chemical called chitin. Clear? Enough. Actually, some fungi live in combination with other organisms, okay, like blue green algae. So some fungi always lives with blue green algae, and this is what we call symbiotic. When one organism is living with another organisms, here there is a mutual understanding between fungi and blue green algae. Okay, so fungi gets a food from blue green algae, and blue green algae survives in support with fungi. Okay, so both live together. If one is not there, another organism cannot live, guys. So such mutual understanding between the two organisms is called symbiosis, or we say the organisms are symbiotic. Okay, so very, 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 very important word. Clear? And lichens are the best example for symbiotic organisms. So what do you mean by lichens? Where do you find this lichens, guys? Lichens are found in tree bark. Have you ever observed that gray and white color patches on a tree bark? That is what we call lichens. What does the lichen contains? Lichens actually contains fungi and some blue-green algae combination. So those patches which are found in a bark, these patches may contain fungi in combination with other organisms, right? So they are called as lichens, and this is the best example for symbiosis or symbiotic organisms. Okay, say the best examples that you can put in fungi is mushrooms. Okay, mushrooms are the examples for fungi. Agaricus, penicillin, all these are actually a mushroom varieties. You can see the picture of the organisms that can come under fungi. Okay, so try to remember these characteristics for fungi. The very, very important thing is fungi has cell wall and it is made up of chitin, and the fungi always maintains that symbiotic relationship with other organisms. Okay, and remember the fungi, one more point try to remember, guys. Fungi are saprophytic or heterotrophic. Okay, they cannot prepare their own food. They always depend on other organisms. Okay, and what do you mean by saprophytic? If fungi takes food from dead organisms, then it is called as saprophytes. Okay, so some fungi always stays on dead organisms, because from dead organisms they take food, they feed on dead organism. Then that point of time I will call that fungi as saprophytic. Okay, or fungi can be heterotrophic, that means they can live on other living organisms, okay, for the food. But remember, they can never prepare their own food. Okay, so this is all about the characteristics of fungi. Coming to the characteristics of kingdom Plantae. So under kingdom Plantae, all plant varieties are placed. Okay, so what are the characteristics that you can list out is, all organisms under, all living things under kingdom Plantae are multicellular. They are multicellular, and the cell is eukaryotic type. Okay, eukaryotic type, and they have cell wall, they have cell wall, and they are autotrophic. Autotrophic in the sense what, guys? They can synthesize their own food. Autotrophic in the sense synthesize their own food. Okay, so these are the four major characteristics of the living things that come under kingdom Plantae. You know, you have varieties of plants under the kingdom Plantae, and the kingdom Plantae is again divided into various divisions, guys, and about the subgroups or divisions we will discuss in my next class. Clear? Fine. And now let us talk about the kingdom Animaliae. Kingdom Animaliae. So, can you list out the characteristics of kingdom Animaliae? See, if you can remember that flow chart, you can even list out the characteristics of 5 kingdoms on your own. The flow chart that I have given in the previous class is very, very important, guys. Try to remember that. Clear? So what I can write here is all cells are eukaryotic, right? All animals come under, you know, the high advanced animals will come under the kingdom Animaliae. Clear? And the cells are eukaryotic and they have multicellular structures, and no cell wall. They do not have cell wall. And very important thing is they are heterotrophic. That means they depend on plants or other animals for the food, guys. They can't prepare their own food. They always depend on others for the food. Say for example, human beings. Can we prepare our own food? I mean, we always depend on plants. We want plants to consume. We want animals to consume, isn't it? Say, this is the major characteristics of the organisms that is coming under Animalia. And even Animalia is again divided into so many subgroups. Okay, we call them as phylums, and about the subgroups of Animalia also we are going to study in the chapter, right? So with this I end my session. In my next class we are going to study about the kingdom Plantae's subdivision. Okay, so Plantae is subdivided into certain divisions. We are going to study about them and their characteristics. Yeah, and again in the chapter, after studying the subdivisions of Plantae, we will also study the subdivisions of Animalia kingdom also. Okay, so that is all about the chapter actually, right? So till then, keep revising the concept, all the characteristics of all the kingdoms is very, very important. With this, I end my session. All characteristics of all kingdoms are very, very important to understand. So if you like our video, please like, share and subscribe our channel to learn the concepts in the easiest way and in a detailed way. Thank you so much.